Greetings, everyone. This is V Beautiful. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? And how y'all doing some more? Today is June 30th, 2025. And greetings to everyone, no matter where you are in the world, whether you're the east, south, north, or west. Greetings to everyone. And give yourselves a hug and a kiss as I give myself a hug and a kiss. And extend it out to each and every one who's having company with us today, and also extend some out to me and to everyone on this planet who will receive it. You always gotta give yourself some love first, and then you can share it out with anyone else who wants to share in it. So with that said, here I go again with some more questions, y'all, that I've been having for decades. Yes, let's just say that. And of course, it's again on relationships, and it's basically based on religion and Christianity, Judeo-Christianity to be exact, because Judaism and Christianity goes hand in hand, and Islam is not far off either. So we're gonna go back with what no one has. I've asked people, I've asked people to comment or help me out with some of the questions that I have, because I am not a Christian, although I have Christian background. I grew up in the church to a certain age, and my family, basically all of them are Christians, and so therefore, I mean, I'm not disrespecting anybody or picking on anybody, and because I wouldn't want nobody to disrespect or pick on me. So please keep that in mind, and if you can, do your best to have an open mind on these discussions. And I'm sure many of you may have had some of the same questions, but because of fear, we have kept them to ourselves, or we just have been told not to express them because they're not right to do. It's not right to question. And if that was true, then children who are born with a brain and who are very inquisitive and always question things, then y'all say they have no right to express themselves. And so we're going to say that's incorrect, because they're going to express themselves, because the idea is to learn. And that's what we're doing here. We're learning and gaining information from one another, because I am not an adept in anything. I'm not a novice in Christianity, for those who understand what the word novice means. According to what they give us, it means new. And so I'm not new to this. And a lot of these questions that I've had are still lingering, because no one has yet to answer them. So my spirit leads me to answer them for myself. And for those who are going to say, oh, the Bible says, or Scripture says, lead nothing to their own understanding, when I've said in other videos, whose understanding am I to lead unto? Because the ones who I have been listening to have not given me a clear, precise answer. Neither from my family, nor from anyone who I may have asked a question in the church, have given me a clear, precise answer that makes sense to me. So, and we're stuck on this thing about men being the head of the households and men being leaders. Okay, but let me read something first. Okay, and this is about girls and boys. And now, when I was growing up, as a matter of fact, even when I was older, teenager, in my 20s, there was always information being said that, or from the science community or the scholarly community, that girls mature faster than boys. And I'm sure some of y'all remember that. Girls matures faster than boys. So I'm going to read something to that fact. Okay? And I got this information off the internet. And I always said everything on the internet is not true. And you're going to find some truth in there. You're going to find some things that are not true in there. So even in books, you have to use your own discernment, because everything that's given to us and fed to us, I don't care who the authors are, everything is not always precise, okay, and true to how we've been told things. So you have to always use some discernment, always, okay, no matter who the authors are. Okay, so now, let's start here. It's thundering out there, y'all. It just finished raining, but it may rain some more, I don't know. All right. Girls generally mature faster than boys. This hormonal shift triggers faster physical maturation and also influences brain development, leading to quicker optimization of brain connections in certain areas. All right, physical maturation. Girls typically begin puberty around ages 10 to 14, while boys usually start between 11 and a half to 15. This earlier start to puberty leads girls to experiencing physical changes like breast development, menstruation, and growth spurts earlier than boys. While girls may reach their peak height earlier, boys tend to have a longer growth spurt, ultimately leading to a larger final height. Next one is cognitive and emotional development. Some studies suggest that girls' brains optimize connections and pruning of neural networks earlier than boys. This could explain why girls may show faster development in certain cognitive and emotional areas, such as language skills and emotional regulation during childhood and adolescence. However, boys eventually catch up, and both sexes continue to develop and refine their brains well into their 20s. Evolutionary and cultural factors. Some theories propose that earlier female maturation had evolutionary advantages in the past, potentially leading to better mate selection or increases protection for offspring. Cultural expectations and social conditioning also play a role, with societal pressures potentially accelerating girls' development in certain areas. Important considerations. While there are general trends, individual development varies greatly, not all girls mature at the same rate, and some boys may mature faster than others. It's crucial to avoid generalizations and recognize that both boys and girls are unique individuals with their own developmental paths. Okay? So, with that said, this is leading me into, they're saying that girls mature faster than boys, both physically and mentally, with mental thinking. Yet somehow, girls have been told and women have been told that we're emotional, we're not cognitive. But that's been, of course, as you see from science, it's been a lie. Hasn't been true. Now, why would they tell that lie? Why would they do that? Now, the whole thing has been flipped to where guys, this whole thing with guys being logical and women being emotional. She didn't even got no cognitive sense anymore. She just emotional. And so to me, there had to be some kind of agenda as to why the woman had to take a back seat to the man. And this starts with the religious community. Because this is where we go into Christianity, because guys, I hear a lot of guys always saying that they're the head They're the head of the household. They are the leaders. And why are they the leaders? They say they're the leaders because God made them first, and then the woman, and then the child. So they say that they are under God's tutelage, then the woman under their tutelage, the children under the women. Okay. And so they're saying that they are the authority over the woman. But you see, I don't like that. I don't like it. Not because I want it to be disagreeable. It's just because when you look at what's going on in the world, men have been running things for so long. Because I guess they got, maybe too much logic? And not enough emotion? Now, I've said this in other videos, but no one has still come to, assist me in why that is. Because, let me give you some definitions. We're gonna go by some definitions now. Okay? Because I don't want people to think I'm just talking out of my head. Okay? And we're gonna go to this book here. This is the Webster's Universal Dictionary and Thesaurus. Okay? This is where we're gonna get our definitions from. And this book was edited in 1993, so that's about 32 years ago. It was edited. Okay? So even though it's a book of the dictionary and the thesaurus, it has been abridged. What abridged means is that the root words are there, but where the root words came from is where the origin, like maybe it's Latin, French, Old English, late Latin, whatever it is, those things are not there. So you got the root words, but the etymon is there, but they're not telling you where the origins are from now. That's taken out. So you can't trace it, not with this book anyway. There's other books you can trace with, but not with this book. You can't trace the origin. And that's what I like to do, because when we're given dates for stuff, we should know the dates. Okay? Or when something began. But let me go and just start giving you the definitions of these words that I got. Okay? So the first word that I got from this dictionary is Christ. So Christ is a noun, and it says Jesus of Nazareth, regarded by Christians as the Messiah. That's all they give to that. The next word is Christian. A person who believes in Christianity, relating to, believing in, or based on the doctrines of Christianity, kind, gentle, humane. Next word here is equal. Equal. The same in amount, size, number, or value. Impartial. Regarding or affecting all objects in the same way, capable of meeting a task or situation. Noun. A person that is equal. Equalizing, equaled, equaling, equaled. To be equal to, especially to be identical in value, to make or do something equal to. Lead is the next word. Verb, to show the way, especially by going first. To direct or guide on a course. To direct by influence. To be head of an expedition, orchestra, etc. To be ahead of in a contest. To live, spend one's life with, on, and these in parentheses. To lure or entice, especially into mischief. To show the way as by going first. To guide a partner in a dance. To aim in front of a moving target. Certain direction, to be or go first. Noun, the role of a leader. First place, the amount or distance ahead. anything that leads as a clue. The leading role, um, in a play, etc. The opening sentence or paragraph in a news story. An animal's leash. The right of playing first cards or the card played. Next word, leader. Noun, the person who goes first. Next word, belief. Noun, a principle or idea considered to be true. Religious faith. Wish, to long for, to express a desire. Noun, desire, thing, desired. Hope, that's the next word. Noun, a feeling of what is wanted will happen. The object of this, a person or thing on which one may base hope. Now they got a verb here, verb something else. To want and expect, to hope for, to have hope for, hoper. I never heard of a hoper, but it's a noun, hoper. Pray is the next word. To offer prayers to God, to implore. Next word, ritual. Adjective, relating to rites or ceremonies. Noun, a fixed religious ceremony. Ritually, which is an adverb. Rule, noun, a straight edge instrument for drawing line and measuring. Government, the exercise of authority. A regulation, an order, a principle, a standard, habitual practice. The code of a religious order, a straight line. To govern, to exercise authority over, to manage, to draw lines with a ruler, without, to exclude, to eliminate, to make impossible. That's the rule. Ruler, next word. Now, a person who governs, a strip of wood, metal, etc. with a straight edge, used in drawing lines, measuring, etc. Now I gave those words for a reason, because it all points to why men say they're the heads of women. So, and I know a lot of people like to say, oh, well, women are, they say we're equally yoked. They like to go to equally yoked. And I gave the meaning of that word also in another video. And it was really talking about animals or or instruments, things like that. But since people want to use it for people, if you just use the word equal itself, which I just read the word for you, it means equal in value. In value. And when you're equal, there is no one leading or the head over another. So if you're going to use the word equally yoked, make sure that you take out the words head or rule over. Head of or rule over. And that someone's following you and she's under you and you have to manage her. I just find that still interesting that no one has come to say, hey. But the biggest, one of the most things that really astounds me is this. When a man says he's leading a woman, he's the leader. Please answer me this question. Where are you leading her to? That she has to follow you. Where are you leading her to? Where's the destination? Can you show her where she's to dwell if she's to follow you, if she's to trust your leadership? You say your leadership. Okay, so is there proof of where you're leading her, or she just is supposed to go off of another word, faith, hope, wishing that you're taking her somewhere that she desires to be? I'm just asking. Because it doesn't make sense to me why a man has to be ahead of another adult, especially since they say that women or young girls were ahead of them in maturation and maturing. So how does she get behind the man to where now he has to lead her, and she was ahead of him in maturation? Because it led to, so for the men to say, well, and I know this is not all men, but this is basically the common and the standard, that rule that we have to follow, at least in the Christian world. Okay? So I'd like you to answer me that question. Where are you leading her to? Where have you been led? If you say that, well, I'm after God. God is over me. God has instructed me to make sure. So why have you not honored those instructions? You want her to follow you, follow. I say to fall low, to bow. This to serve you. This is why you say she's your helpmate. I went to all of that because this will make sense to me. You want her to serve you. You want to be the one that she looks up to. And and there would be no problem if you're both equally yoked. But somehow y'all forget all about the equal part. You just want to yoke somebody. It just was about a yoke. And it sounds cruel. But if you look at the world we're living in, it is kind of cruel, because women have been abused greatly. And we're not talking about the men who've been abused, the ones who are not. We're not talking about the men who have been abused. We're talking about the men who say they're leaders over women. And these women, we have been, I can't speak for myself, have been abused. Mentally, emotionally, physically, some of us, and some of them all three. Under the leadership and rulership of a man who himself has not followed the leadership or rulership of the God he said he follows. Could you help me understand that? Again, like, I like to know, where's the end goal? Where's the end goal? Where are you leading her to? That she's supposed to just trust what you say and follow her where? Follow you where? Where is she supposed to follow you? Is there a place that you have secured for her? I mean, first, have you secured it for yourself? Because in order for her to follow you and to trust in what you're saying, she has to know that you have a safe place for her, that you have secured a safe space for yourself first. And from the way the conditions are in the world, when it said that one of the definitions of the leadership was to lead, what was it? Was to lead woman. Let me go back up there to it. Was to lead woman where? In mischief? To lead woman in mischief. And and that would make sense, because you know why? Because most most women, let's say most young girls, teenagers, when they have boyfriends, who's tempting the woman most of the time? Who's leading these girls into mischief? most times. Who wants the girls to go all the way and when the girls don't want to? Because y'all make it seem as if it's the girls who are tempting the guys, but we know a lot of men want to get you in bed. No strings attached. Just go, and there was even some joys about it. Oh, look, the guys just need to go, they need to go sow their oats, sow their wild oats. How did they get wild if they supposed to be under the leadership, if they were supposed to be under the guidance of God? How? What happened to the principle? Y'all want to be the leaders, but then y'all don't want to be accountable for how y'all have led the women in this world or in your lives. And I have answers that I come up with. If y'all don't mind me, I know this video is kind of long, but I need for y'all to engage and to help me out to understand why it is the way it is. Because I don't think, if I have, like I said before in another video, if I have a mother and a father, which I didn't grow up with hardly any of them. I grew up with my grandmother and my grandfather. I don't know why I have to have a male who has to be a father figure over me as a woman. Why now, after my mother and my father, I have to have my husband or my mate to be also over me, my ruler, my manager? Why? Because you're saying that I can't think, women can't think on their own. They can't do things on their own. They have to have someone thinking for them. Do you know how insulting that is? That's very insulting. Because if she couldn't think on her own, then she wouldn't be maturing faster than the males. She wouldn't have matured faster than the males. But you know why she had to mature faster? Because she was the responsible one. Because she was going to be the one who's going to be responsible of having babies, offspring, and rearing them and instructing them and teaching them. She was the first teacher to them, not the dads. The dads were out supposedly working. So while they're working, she's the one that's nurturing, that's loving, and that's teaching. So she had to be cognitive and emotional at the same time. She had to have both. And maybe a third one there, spiritually. She had to be complete and in alignment. And the only thing her husband was supposed to do was to support her in her teaching the children or enforcing that, making sure the children stayed in line, whatever. That's how I see it. That's how I understand it. And to me, the reason why I think that most men have failed women is because no man likes to follow a docile or gentle man. That is not their natures. That is not their nature. And so to me, they couldn't identify with the Christ being gentle and kind and humane. That's like docility. That's softness. That's a characteristics or traits normally given to women. So to me, I think the men had an identity crisis. And I'm not being disrespectful. Because if you could not follow God's son, the one who you say that was over you, if you couldn't execute or if you couldn't abide by or adhere to the laws and the rules that were given to you, and you're supposed to be the example and the head over the woman, how was she supposed to follow you? if you didn't respect the principle of the law yourself? How was she supposed to follow you? So when you failed, she had to fall too, right? Since you're over her. You supposed to be the closest thing to God, not her. According to Christian books, Christian scriptures, man is closer to God than she is. So why is she even following God? She's supposed to be following man. Isn't that what it is? Because you're closer to her than to God spiritually than she is. So she really ain't got no business following. How she used to know what that is? Can she relate to that? Since you said that you are the medium between God and her, you have taken her so far away from her spiritual self, taken away from being equal to you, taken away from where she's not even identifying herself in a good way in the Bible. Because even with Adam and Eve, she done had Abel and Cain and Seth, all guys, all men. Where are the women? Where are her daughters? She has no one to relate to but this man. So no, I can't. I don't understand it. I don't overstand it. I don't understand it. Why women have to be the ass, while men have to be the head. I'm nobody's ass, and I'm not gonna be nobody's ass or tail. And men take pride in, oh, we the head. What you proud of? What's your pride? What are you proud of? You have let the people so astray from themselves. You're not even been in tune with your own self, because we're not even in tune with the feminine side of yourself. All masculine energy. When you get all masculine energy, what you get? Y'all see football, testosterone, hoo, military fighting stuff. So you thought you was gonna have some balance with all this masculine energy, and got that one little woman sitting up there gotta follow you too? She gotta fall low to you too? Be subject to you too? Where is herself? Where is she to be found? Like I said in this, she's been run by men. Where is she to be found? So, if until someone can help me out and answer that question for me, why you got to be head over an adult woman who's an adult like you, I don't think men are supposed to be the leaders of anything. You both lead the house together. You both share responsibilities together. You both partner together. We both have strengths and weaknesses, or less strengths, whatever. You both can rule together. But the reason why I probably got out of whack, because why? Because you're following a jealous God. And I thought y'all gave jealousy to women. But he said, I'm a jealous God, right? Your God is a jealous God. So we have to rethink some of the things that we've been taught, because I don't think that we've been taught things in proper perspective, even proper context. I don't think we've been taught to look at it in a proper perspective to ourselves, to one another. And hence, this is why, to me, there is an imbalance between the sexes. There's an imbalance and a misalignment in the world, because one principle is not respecting the other. Masculine is not respecting the feminine, and now the feminine is not respecting herself or the masculine, and so on and so on. And to me, that's where some of the misalignments have happened. But I do see the good news is, or the great news is, the feminine principle, the feminine energy is waking up. She's waking it up within herself, and she's waking it up within her sons. She's waking the masculine up. Because now I see a lot of men that are now saying what I'm saying. That they don't want that woman to be a servant to them, or slaves to them. And thank goodness, because I know they wouldn't want their daughters to be that to them. Like I said, you cannot put your mother, you cannot subjugate your mother, the one who gives birth to you, and tell her now she's beneath your feet. That's something's incorrect with that masculine, and women too who now follow that. No, you ain't come out of no man's rib, woman, mama. You didn't come out of his rib. Now there may be other stories that's been happening here. Now, like I said, I love Frankenstein. Now, some stuff been happening in the laboratories, which they still do to this day. Then maybe that's where some people came from, some beings came from. Then maybe that's what happened. But as for a man being a head over women, no, first be a leader unto yourself first. Lead yourself first. Master yourself first. Master your emotions. Master everything about you first, before you want to try to master a woman. And you shouldn't want to master her either. You should want to be a shared, loving, respectful, honoring partners to one another. And that should be it. So, if I've offended anybody, that's not my intent. It's just that that's not my intention. So, if you can support me and give me some comments on to if I'm incorrect in what I'm saying, then help me to see correctly. I would greatly appreciate that. And with that said, wishing and hoping and thinking and praying. No, don't wish, don't hope, don't think, and don't pray. Praying, we have to put work behind stuff. We can put energy in this stuff, but the words, I used to like spelling. We have been on the spellings. These words are spellings. Why is it called a spelling bee? Why is it called a spelling bee? You see? So we've been using words that we have been misunderstood in speaking, not knowing what they truly mean, and being put under the illusions that we're doing something in our best interest when we have not been doing it. We have been working against ourselves. So now, since we are becoming into our awareness of loving ourselves, let's do better, people. And there's a saying, I think it was by Maya Angelou, since I said that, the late Maya Angelou. She says, when you know better, you do better. I don't think that's not always true. A lot of us know better, and we still don't do better. I can know not to eat that pound cake because it maybe put some pounds on me. It may hurt my stomach. It may cause tooth decay. It may give me nightmares. May do a lot of things to me. But I know better, but I still eat it. So no, always knowing better does not always mean you're gonna do better. That takes practice. So let's practice, people. Let's practice loving one another. Let's practice learning together. Let's practice communicating better with one another. Let's practice just being the beneficial beings that we can to each other, to support one another. Okay? With that said, I love y'all. Thank you for keeping me company. Thank you for hearing my ideas. Thank you for being here. See you next time.